Revenge cheating? Ugh, still cheating. Congrats though. Now you're both trash.
Before we start, show devotion by wickedly smacking the like button.
Warning, this episode is emotionally disturbing to cheaters.
Earlier this year, my youngest had just graduated from high school and was preparing to join her older brothers in college. My husband and I were about to celebrate our 26th anniversary, and I was a month away from my 50th birthday. Also around that time, I was just entering the early stages of menopause and started experiencing some symptoms. So, while I had a high level of satisfaction with my marriage and everything my husband and I had built together, there was something missing in my life, a void of sorts. The zeal just wasn't there anymore like it used to be, and I no longer felt the butterflies, you know. My husband had his career, my kids were getting their education, and I had nothing but my family, who I deeply love though, don't get me wrong. I loved my husband completely, but I have to admit the spark wasn't burning like it used to for us. Oh, at least it wasn't then. To snap me out of the funk, I decided to join a gym and start exercising. Initially, I just walked on the treadmill and used the leg machines, as I had gained a few pounds, which all seemed to accumulate around my upper thighs and bum area. So one day, while using the machines, I was talking to one of the women, who normally worked out around the same time I did. We were chatting, and she told me about a yoga class she was taking, and said I should consider taking it too. She said the class had done wonders for her flexibility and peace of mind, and she had been sleeping better than she had in years. I signed up and started taking the class and really enjoyed it. The ages of the clients were all over, from 20-somethings to a few ladies in their 70s. During the classes, I mostly hung out with my new friend and a guy, who later joined the class, who I'll call Jason. The three of us were around the same age, so after joining, he naturally gravitated to us. Jason has a home-based business and recently joined the gym to get back in shape. Like us, he had gained a few pounds, but was still in pretty good shape for a guy his age, and had a very pleasant personality. To get to the point, I started talking to Jason, which progressed to an innocent friendship, which eventually led to he and I having a short but very passionate affair. The attraction was purely a physical one, and I had no feelings for him beyond that. We'd generally meet at his house after yoga, or sometimes we'd skip class altogether. Prior to this, I absolutely hated morning sex. But with him, the secrecy and all made those times so thrilling. Oh, I'm ashamed to say I carried on like this for 3 weeks, before wising up, and ending this mistake I never should have made. It's just that it was like I had a deep-seated need to feel desired, and it happened to be by another man. And once I had gotten that out of my system, I realized the horrible thing I had done. It was also around this time when I noticed a change in my husband's behavior. He started acting disinterested and stopped initiating with me, something he'd normally do at least a few times a week. Concerned about this, I started initiating, and he'd give me a million excuses as to why he wasn't interested. This pattern played out over the next few weeks, with him only letting me do things with him, with nothing returned to me. Finally, I had reached my wit's end and asked him what was wrong. He told me there was nothing wrong. He just wasn't feeling it anymore. I asked if he still loved me, and he gave me a half-hearted yes. This caused me to break out crying, which led to him consoling me, which led to our first time reconnecting in almost 2 months. Well, I thought this was the end of our rough patch. However, after this, he fell back into the same pattern, with me doing all the initiating and him giving me going through the motion type vibes. Around that same time, he also started going out after work more and hanging out with the other husbands in our neighborhood. I started to get suspicious and had a sense that something was going on. I checked around the house but didn't find anything. Then one day, I noticed he was texting a lot with someone and smiling from ear to ear. I asked him what he was doing, and he said he was playing a game on his phone. I knew he was not being truthful as I saw him texting, so I knew right there something was up. That night while he was sleeping, I grabbed his phone and checked his calls and texts. There was nothing out of sorts, as everything was either business or family related. I specifically checked the times when I saw him texting, and there was nothing. So I knew he had either deleted those texts or was hiding them somehow. The following day, I stopped at the mobile phone store to ask about this. Like, if it's possible to have 2 phone numbers on the same phone. The clerk told me it was and gave me a link on how that works. That night, I grabbed his phone again. And this time, I saw dozens of calls and texts between him and another woman. He apparently had gotten a second number and must have forgotten to switch back to his main number before going to bed. What I saw broke me and clearly proved he had been having an affair for weeks. The other woman used to work at a gastropub where my husband and his friends would sometimes go after golfing. He met her there sometime this year, then ended up getting her a job at his friend's company, which was during the month I was having my small affair. From the texts, it appears he's been screwing her multiple times a week since then, which explains his sudden drop in libido. From her photos, she appears to be a lot younger than us. I'm guessing mid-30s, with a teenage son. Wow, she's definitely got a lot of miles on her. Has 3 times more stretch marks than I do. When I first started looking at these texts, my heart was broken. But after reading through them, I became angry, as my husband and this bitch were discussing me, and not in a good way. What really set me off was my husband telling her he loved her, and that our marriage was on its last legs. I couldn't believe my eyes and started crying so loud, I thought I was going to wake my husband. I spent the next hour and a half in there, reading every one of their messages and looking at every disgusting photo this tramp sent him. Oh, then I came across a message from my husband. That broke my heart. In this message, he told her I was cheating on him and had been for a few weeks. He said he knew and really didn't care as he wasn't happy for a long time. He told her that my affair motivated him to get out of his bubble and take the initiative to ask her out. And that's how their relationship started. She, of course, wasted no time in taking advantage of a gullible older man. I'm sure she has no interest in him, beyond her laser-eyed focus on his wallet and what he could give her. After learning this, I was distressed to the point where I could no longer cry and started hyperventilating. I honestly thought I was having a nervous breakdown. Eventually, I got myself together and crept back into the bedroom. There, I placed his phone back where he left it and got back in bed with my husband. When I did, I snuggled up on him and squeezed him really tight. He let out a sigh, like, what the heck is going on? But he didn't wake up. The following morning, I woke up early and fixed him a nice breakfast, then saw him off to work. Since then, I've been sitting here crying and wondering what I should do. I'm afraid of confronting him, for fear he'll bring up my affair, and then there may be no turning back. Instead, I'm considering just staying quiet until his infatuation with this witch runs its course. Don't hate me, I know it. Yeah, you're late to the party. I don't like to admit to this, and there's no way this post can be linked to me. So for the grown-ups here, any suggestions on how to handle this? I'm open to all opinions at this point and would appreciate the help.
Royal A.I.
Oh wow, I wish you the best. But I don't feel sorry for you. What made you do this in the first place? From your description, it sounds like you had the life most married women wish for. It's not only wrong, you're stupid, dumb, shameless even. I honestly believe you actually fell on your head before posting this.
I believe it was the menopause, combined with the stress of turning 50, that led to me to do what I did. I know how it sounds, but it's the truth, whether you like it or not. Whatever it was, I know it was wrong and stupid and will never do it again.
You committed the ultimate betrayal. However, your marriage may still be salvageable, but you are going to have to do all the heavy lifting. My wife cheated on me 3 years into our marriage. I was all set to divorce her, but she begged me to stay and gave me a promissory list of things she would do to prove her love and loyalty to me. I postponed the divorce and gave her a second chance, told her our marriage was now a day-by-day contract. If she at any time violates anything she promised me, I will immediately file for divorce. This all happened 8 years ago, and since that time, everything has been going well, and we now have 2 beautiful daughters. Even so, my wife understands she still must abide by the promises she made. It always hangs in the air, and if for some reason she doesn't, then I will instruct my lawyer to file for divorce on the basis of her past infidelity. Right now, I'm a very happy man and love my wife, but my feelings for her may change, and if they do, I'm all prepared to leave the marriage.
Oh, thank you. This is exactly what I plan on doing for my husband. I've rededicated my life to him and will do everything in my power to make him happy. Being on the other side, do you think I should confront him to discuss our affairs? Or just show him through my actions?
So you need to talk to him and let him decide whether he wants to stay or not.
If I was your husband, I'd have been gone as soon as I found out you cheated. I don't care if that meant losing my assets and paying alimony for life. It's better than staying with an untrustworthy backstabber. That's been tainted by another man's seed. I hope your husband wises up and does what's in his best interest.
I'd recommend you say nothing and just let things play out with the affair. In the meantime, keep doing everything you can to make his life enjoyable and prove to him that you are the best choice. I had an affair years ago, and what stopped it was I found out that my husband knew about it and never said anything to me. When I discovered he knew, it broke my heart, and I quickly broke things off with the other man. Like your husband, mine became distant, irritable, and disinterested. It took some time, but eventually he fell back in love with me, and we've had a wonderful marriage ever since. To this day, he's never mentioned my affair, nor have I, and I'd prefer to live out the rest of our years that way.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. This gives me a lot of hope, and I sure need that right now. My situation is more complicated because there's another woman in the picture. On one hand, I see that as a big risk, even though she's disgusting. On the other hand, now that he has cheated too, it kind of evens the score, which might be a blessing. Whatever the case, I'm not going down without a fight. Oh no. Ugh, I plan to do everything I can to keep my husband. He is mine.
Oh, so let me get this straight. Some of y'all are actually out here defending cheaters? Saying, just let it play out. Prove you're the best choice. Or you need to make him happy again. Like this is some virtue signal for twisted people? Miss me with that weak logic. First off, cheating doesn't even the score. It's not a game. It's not a trade-off. Oh, and it sure as hell isn't a blessing. If both of them stepped out, the relationship isn't just broken. It's a dumpster fire of used diapers. There's no winning in infidelity, just 2 low people who torched their vows. Secondly, to the men in here acting like tainted by another man's seed is an actual sentence that makes sense in 2025. Get a grip. This ain't medieval times, my guy. Your divine masculine purity isn't being compromised every time a woman did it before meeting you. Especially when y'all are out here cheering for husbands doing the same thing. With 0 consequences. Hold yourself to the same damn standard you hold women to. And to the ladies enabling this, wake up. If you think staying silent while he has his fun is smart to save your marriage, I have news for you. You're just delaying the inevitable. You don't win by tolerating disrespect. You don't win by proving you're the better choice. The moment you have to compete for the loyalty, that should have been yours by default. You've already lost. The only real move here? Leave. Pack up that dignity, remind yourself that you are not a participation trophy, and watch how fast the garbage takes itself out. Cheating doesn't work. You think they realize the mistake and come back to you. Nah, they just learn you're someone who accepts it. Revenge cheating? Ugh, still cheating. Congrats, now you're both trash.
What would you advise OP? Let us know in the comments. You like the way these stories are brought to you? If so, I got you covered. More like this on my channel. Thank you for staying till the end. See you in the next one.